Here's a shocking truth. The war in Gaza might never end, and it's all by design. Benjamin Netanyahu's latest move to assert full control over the Gaza Strip, starting with Gaza City, isn't just about reclaiming territory. It's about ensuring the conflict persists indefinitely. By October 7, 2025, exactly 2 years after Hamas's devastating attack, Netanyahu plans to displace nearly 1 million residents southward. The symbolism is unmistakable. It's a deliberate attempt to link this operation to past trauma, framing the war as an unfinished mission. But here's the twist. This isn't a strategy to end the conflict. It's a blueprint to keep it alive. Netanyahu's playbook is decades in the making. This month marks 20 years since Israel's chaotic withdrawal from Gaza, a move made without a clear plan for the future. That vacuum allowed Hamas to rise, leading to years of blockade, rocket attacks, and retaliation. Successive Israeli governments, especially Netanyahu's, quietly bolstered Hamas as a counterweight to the Palestinian Authority, ensuring no unified Palestinian leadership could push for statehood talks. Fast forward to today, and Israel is once again relying on brute force over diplomacy, with no credible endgame in sight. Nearly 2 years into the war, the battlefield has seen its share of advances and setbacks. What's different now is that Hamas, as a governing force, has been dismantled, its battalions shattered, ministries dissolved, and command structure scattered. What remains is a guerrilla force, capable of inflicting harm, but no longer able to govern. Yet instead of scaling back, Netanyahu is doubling down, launching an operation that will displace countless civilians again. Military experts across the board agree. Everything achievable by force has already been done. But here's where it gets controversial. Even Israel's top military brass, like IDF Chief of Staff Eyal Zamir, warned that this move would endanger hostages and trap exhausted troops in a death trap. Yet Netanyahu pressed on, silencing dissent with political momentum. This pattern is all too familiar. Recently, mediators proposed a ceasefire with a partial hostage release, which Hamas accepted. Netanyahu stalled, buying time with silence. Under pressure, he finally agreed to talks, but only on terms Hamas would never accept. It's not negotiation. It's delay disguised as resolve. And this is the part most people miss. Netanyahu thrives on ambiguity, keeping every option open to avoid making tough choices. His strategy? Perpetual maneuver, deferred decisions, and strategic vagueness. Take, for instance, his recent offensive, Gideon's Chariots, which expanded Israel's control over 3/4 of Gaza. After 2 months of fighting, thousands of reservists mobilized, and countless Israeli soldiers killed, the operation achieved none of its goals. Hamas didn't surrender, hostages remained captive, and a flawed aid distribution plan deepened starvation, leading some to label it genocide. Yet instead of pivoting to diplomacy, Netanyahu prepared for the next assault. Here's the real question. Why reject every viable path to peace? Because the October 7th attack was a catastrophic intelligence failure that threatened Netanyahu's political survival. War provides cover, postponing political reckoning and delaying elections. His coalition, the most extreme in Israel's history, thrives on perpetual conflict. Figures like Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich and National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir openly advocate for expelling Gaza's population and re-establishing settlements. Netanyahu doesn't say it outright, but his promises of total victory and escalating actions tie him to the far right. The cost of this never-ending war is staggering. Israeli society is deeply divided over the hostages and the war's goals. The army is stretched thin, and protests demanding a truce fill the streets of Tel Aviv. Even Israel's closest allies are horrified by the starvation in Gaza, and strains within the U.S. Republican Party have emerged. Most tragically, the government's refusal to pursue peace has frozen the one outcome most Israelis want, bringing the hostages home. Yet, a clear path forward exists. Hamas could relinquish control of Gaza in exchange for a full ceasefire and hostage release. An Arab-led stabilization force, under international oversight, could secure Gaza, while a technocratic administration, prepares for a reformed Palestinian Authority to take over. Reconstruction and demilitarization could pave the way for Gaza and the West Bank to reunite under a single, accountable government. Arab states and Washington are ready to contribute, and several Western partners are moving toward recognizing a Palestinian state. But Netanyahu has vetoed this plan repeatedly, choosing conflict over resolution. This endless endgame isn't just Netanyahu's, it's becoming Donald Trump's too. By indulging Netanyahu, Trump has tied the war to his own presidency. The longer it drags on, the more it risks becoming his legacy as well. Netanyahu claims Israel needs indefinite security control over Gaza, but security control isn't limited to borders. It governs every aspect of life, as seen in the West Bank. Imagine Gaza under such a regime, not a free or stable entity, but a territory micromanaged by force, combustible by design. The war has outlived its cause, sustained only by Netanyahu's political needs. Until he leaves power, expect more tactical pivots masquerading as strategy, more military gambles for political gain, and more futile searches for an endgame. But here's the truth. Netanyahu's only endgame is no end at all. The question is, how much longer will the world let this continue? What do you think? Is there a way out? Or is this conflict destined to drag on indefinitely? Let's discuss in the comments.